There's a button here that says solo layout. And I want to push it. But I don't know what the fuck it's going to do. Oh, good afternoon or good morning, whatever fucking time it is. This is Tim's New York Giants Straight Talk, brought to you by the mighty FanDuel. That's FanDuel.com, number one sports book in America on the Believe Network. We got to talk about Dexter Lawrence again. Oh, I really didn't want to talk to him about it again, but there was a guy, DJ, that we mentioned on the stream yesterday about a potential guy to come in to maybe be a replacement. I don't know if it's Reader or Redder. I can never know, but I call him DJ. Hey, Mr. DJ, 31 years old, 6'3", 330 pounds. They're talking about him as a possible replacement for Dexter Lawrence. DJ came in on Monday, left without a deal. You know, it's interesting that there's already talk and speculation. I want to talk about a trade rumor that I just heard. And I was thinking about this rumor, and it's a rumor. Look at all these rumors around me every day. But I heard the rumor from two people. And that's what makes it interesting, because when you hear a rumor, you don't really think about much of it, and then you hear it a second time, almost identical from another person, and you're kind of like, well, this may have legs, this may have traction. But DJ came in for a visit. I mean, we're looking for I'm looking for a guy that doesn't look at his 4-year, $90 million extension, which he signed in 2023, and say, well, you know, I'm underpaid. Okay, Dex, I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to talk to you like a man, Dex. Take your tampon out. Because of the fact that the moment you sign a new extension, you are more than likely 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 months, 6 days later going to be, in your mind, underpaid again. Off Broadway. What's up, brother? You're going to be underpaid again. You're on a team that finished 31st in run defense last year. You are on a team that when you made the playoffs in 22, your defensive line gave up 5.2 yards a carry and was number one in the league at not stopping the run. There has been a constant. There has been something that has been on this Giant team for years that has never changed, and that is the run total keeps going the wrong way. And that's Dexter Lawrence. I didn't know people were waiting for what is David Casey? What's up, Big David? Listening to you at work. Glad you choose to stay. The fan base needs a voice of reason. Well, thank you, David. I'm Irish, so I can't take compliments. So I would tell you to F you, but it's too early in the morning. But David, I do appreciate that. Just so you know about the Irish, there's if I insult you, like I said, and I had to explain this to Dom, and I should explain to him when he first came to visit from the UK. When you're Irish as I am, when you insult people, that means you like them. If I don't insult you, that means I don't like you. And when we get a compliment, we don't take compliments. We don't take compliments, and we don't like compliments. But thank you, David. I'm glad I was glad I was able to say. But DJ came in. I don't know what DJ Raider is going to want contractually. He is 31 years old. He's going to be looking for a payday. Not a big payday, but he's coming off he signed a 2-year, $27.5 million contract with the Detroit Lions back in March of 24. 13.6 guarantee. The deal included $7.3 million in the signing bonus and an annual salary of $13.6. They did a restructure a year ago. And this is a guy that, like I said, he's not going to have the flashy numbers. He's not going to have the numbers that you're going to look at and say, ooh, he does what I like. We talked about before. He does the dirty work. He clogs the middle of the field. He clogs what he's supposed to do. And I love it because out of last year, he didn't have any sacks, but the year before he had 3 sacks, but he still had 28 tackles. He did play in 17 games. He started all 17 games, but it's the thing that we hate to say. He does the little things that don't fill the stat sheet. And that's what you want with a guy that is going to come. Dexter Lawrence, I love it because people are like, well, we watched the film and Dexter Lawrence was double teamed 72% of the time. Well, you're fucking morons because that's not true. Because there's plenty in this league, Chris Jones, Micah Parsons. I can name multitudes of defensive players that receive a double team almost every game, and they still get sacks. You don't think Brian Burns I love it. Brian Burns doesn't get double teamed? Brian Burns was our best defensive player, and nobody in the league, no offensive coordinator said, what we should do? Maybe we should put a tackle and then, or maybe we should chip Brian Burns with a tight end or running back and then put a tackle on him. No one thought of that. That's why he had all of his sacks. It was all Dexter Lawrence. Listen, DJ only played 53% of the snaps. He's only going to play 50% of the snaps. He hasn't played more than 70% of the snaps since 2020. The last 3 years, it's 53, 53, 58. This is a guy that's been fairly healthy the last couple of years. He played 17 games, 15 and 14. He's going to be, like I said, he is going to come in. He's going to do his business. Former fifth rounder, of course, with the Texans back in 2016. He is a short-term solution for a long-term problem. The Giants defense has been a long-term problem. And this is a guy that all I need him to do is come in and plug the middle. That's it. That's all I need him to do is plug the middle. People will talk about, of course, you always have to go to the venerable Pro Football Focus. His Pro Football Focus grades was 70.9. That and $1.50 gets you $1.25 with inflation. But he's a guy that can come in, do the dirty work. You can go, hopefully you can get Darius Alexander to give you that sack totals. And I love it because the complete grade for Dexter Lawrence was 74.6. So one guy's at 70.9, the other guy's at 74.6, and one guy played in 300 more snaps. Dexter Lawrence did. Are we seeing the problem? Are we drawing the conclusion finally that the interior of the line might be so porous because there is a guy in there while he's getting penetration? Sorry.
That's what she said.
While he's getting penetration.
That's what she said.
He's not doing what he needs to do as a run stuffer. It's not really that difficult to figure out. Our run defense the last 4 years, even in 22, when we were ranked 18th overall in defense in the league under Wink Martindale, we were still ranked 30th in our run defense. Now let me think. Who has been in the middle of that run defense since 2019? Does anyone want to wager a guess who that might have been?
Who you see tonight? What fight? Have you seen tonight? Yes! Yes! Jesus H. Goddamn Christ! I have seen the light!
Good point, Joe. Dexter's going to get 10 sacks, and then he's going to want 100 million. You're right. Mark Hernandez, all the way from Barbados. How you doing, brother? I haven't seen you in a while. Make sure you're hitting the like button because Mark Hernandez is in the chat. Listen, I'm not saying Dexter Lawrence isn't a quality player. I'm not saying Dexter Lawrence cannot be an asset on a good team. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that he is a guy that isn't one of the top 11 defensive tackles in the league. I'm not saying that. But here's the thing. We ran off 10 other guys yesterday that I would rather have than Dexter Lawrence. And he is complaining that he is the 11th highest paid defensive tackle in the league. But I named 10 guys. And maybe I did that on purpose. Maybe I subconsciously named those 10 guys. Because it proves that even
King of the almost sack
has had better seasons the last 2 years than Dexter Lawrence. The Chicago Bears were a team that allegedly were looking into Dexter Lawrence. But there have been some reports out of the Windy City, and there's been some speculation that despite his down year, that the Bears would be interested because of the fact that they need some interior line help. And there was talk and speculation about he could potentially go there. But they looked at Max Crosby. They also looked at Tyler Lindenbaum. They looked to make a splash. But now there's reports and speculation out of Chicago media that there is no interest in Dexter Lawrence coming to the Bears. That the Bears are kind of like, no, that's all right. We're good. And then I keep hearing there's a team out there that could have an interest in a star defensive player. And the name that keeps popping up is the Cincinnati Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals have been poor, not only against the run defense, but pretty much every defensive facet for years. And while the Cincinnati Bengals probably would not part with their first overall pick, which I believe is 10th overall pick, that they were also in consideration for potentially moving or going towards someone like a Dexter Lawrence, trying to find that, like I said, trying to replace what they lost and kind of move forward there, even though they picked up Sherman Stewart last year from Texas A&M. I know he is more of a defensive end, but they're actually looking probably for, the person that I spoke to is saying that they're probably looking more for for offensive line help than anything else. And I kind of was thinking the same thing, that if you go through that perspective, they're not a good fit either. So I'm always on the phone. I am literally always on the fucking phone, it's because of the fact that I talk to a lot of people, and a lot of times it's not anything football related, but I'm always on the phone. I'm always texting people. And the Bears rumor came up again. And the Bears rumor is, like I said, this for the Bears, for this to happen, it couldn't happen until after June 1st. So it's probably anything that you do with Dexter Lawrence is probably not going to be a draft day trade. We did hear rumors and speculations that there is potential for the Kayvon Thibodeau to be a draft day trade. And I could see that happening, and maybe not getting the traction. But and then I talked to a friend again yesterday and another person, and they keep bringing up the Cincinnati thing. And they keep saying, what we keep hearing. They signed T. Higgins to a massive extension. The Giants still need a wide receiver. So if you want to balance out salaries, and this is the second time I've heard this rumor in a day, you take T. Higgins and you move him and the 41st pick over for Dexter Lawrence, and then potentially throw in a later round swap. I'm not saying I'm not saying that the Bengals are going to give the Giants another pick. They would swap a later round pick. So I've heard this from two people, that you take T. Higgins, and that someone, like I said, in Cincinnati evidently was talking about it, and you move him to the Giants for the 41st pick and a swap of a mid-round selection. And I thought it was kind of nuts. I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought it was kind of nuts. It's one of those trades that it's like, does it make sense for both teams? Because T. Higgins just signed that 4 years, $114 million, but T. Higgins' cap hit in 26 is only $26 million. People have this delusion that Dexter Lawrence is only costing, that he's only getting paid this small, sample, the small amount of cash, that he's not making almost $28 million. Because people don't, he did lose, he's probably going to lose $500,000. But his cap hit, now watch this. I'm gonna show you some math, because we like math. T. Higgins' cap hit in 26 is $26,514,000. Now you want to hear the math? Dexter Lawrence's 2026 cap hit is $26.9 million. So the numbers actually kind of fit together. Now you're going to be taking on a much larger commitment for T. Higgins, and you're going to lose a lot of your salary in 27. But think about that for a minute. T. Higgins is basically 26. Dexter Lawrence is almost 27.
That's not the way you're supposed to do it, Dad. They want us to do it this
I don't
way.
know that way. Why would they change math? Math is math.
Okay,
Math
Dad.
is math.
Now, I didn't invent math. The Sumerians did. We've talked about that. That's what we like on this show. It's not only on this show do we tell you about sports, we talk about history. But the Sumerians did the same thing. I love it. Mike Lee's like, sold. So I don't even need all right, we can end the stream now. Mike Lee sold on it. But think about that. T. Higgins, a 4th rounder, and a late round swap. I mean, what Giant fans wouldn't do that? The Bengals still keep their 1st round pick. They move on from their 4th round pick. They pick up a defensive stalwart to replace Hendrickson. They still, this is the other thing that gets me. This is the thing right here. They still have their 3rd, 2 6s, and 2 7s. So you're going to take the 110th pick. You are going to take T. Higgins, and you're probably going to swap a pick. I'm down with that. Charlie Brown. And I laugh because like I said, I didn't hear it once yesterday. I heard it twice. I was driving in the car, and it was actually funny because I was taking my wife out to the store real quick, and nothing where I live is very quick. Any place that you want to go where I live is 25 minutes away. So I'm in the car with her, and I keep talking to people on the phone. And I love it, though, because I would hang up and then the phone ring again. Then I'd hang up and then the phone ring again. And like I said, the same conversation, it came out. And it's a deal that if you think about it and look about it on the surface, it makes sense. It literally fulfills needs of both teams. T. Higgins. Now, the only thing, and this is what I was trying to bring up with the 2 gentlemen that were talking about this. The only problem is T. Higgins is going from a situation where he's got Jamar Chase, and now he's going into a situation where he is going to be potentially the Robin to Malik Neighbors' Batman. Oh, that would have been good.
Excuse me. Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight?
So at 27 years old, he got his cash. He's only had 2,000-yard seasons, T. Higgins. He's going to go to a place where the turf is not friendly. T. Higgins has yet to play a full season since 2022. He did play 15 games last year. But he's going to go to a place where he's potentially going to be the second guy again. Does T. Higgins want to go somewhere where he's going to want to be uno? He's going to be that first guy. Or does he want to go into a Matt Nagy offense that if you put in Malik Neighbors, T. Higgins, Darnell Mooney, Darius Slayton, Isaiah Likely, and Theo Johnson, if your fucking quarterback has a heartbeat, you're putting up 26 points a game. If you can also find a consistent running game. I always think of Old people only remember this. Don Johnson, Miami Vice fame, when he's at his peak career, when he's at his peakness at Miami Vice in the late 80s, he decided he was a musician, so he did a song called Heartbeat. And I just keep thinking, I'm looking for a heartbeat. Go look it up. Go look it up. It's just as good as Darren Waller. That's what I'm saying. Hey, Charlie Brown. You see him try to kick a football? No, I don't. Where's Charlie Brown? Memrod says, hold him until the draft deadline. If he's playing better, we'll get more for the next year's draft, which is supposed to be a better class. Here's my problem, Memrod. Here's my issue with that. And I don't disagree with your theory. I actually totally agree with that situation. What if he plays worse? What if Dexter Lawrence puts up another stinker of a season? What if Dexter Lawrence is the same player and the same attitude that he had last year? Because I'm not seeing a New England Patriot type scenario for the Giants next year. Because I don't see our head coach sexually harassing or cheating on his wife. Hey-o! But I still see the Giants being better. I do see that. But it just because we if you roll the dice and you fail, that's gonna be on us. James Williams, like James, I told James he wanted to get that joke in, but I was not waiting for James in that joke. I wanted that joke, James. I stole it. The Giants rolled. You know what the problem is? The Giants roll the dice so much, and they always come up craps. Do we know why? Because the New York Giants don't go on the mighty FanDuel. That's FanDuel.com, number one sportsbook in America. New customers bet $5, get $200 back, $250 back in bonus bets if you win. We got the NBA playoffs rocketing towards us. There's so many scenarios for the Knicks in that potential second round opponent. I don't know what to do. I still can't believe that, according to FanDuel, the championship odds for the Knicks have dropped to plus 2,200. We were at plus 1,800 yesterday. So you know what I'm doing? You know what I'm doing, FanDuel? I'm taking the Knicks to be the NBA final winners, and I'm betting $150. That means I'm going to win $3,313. Well, actually, I lied. It was just $3,300. It just sounded cooler if I had it to $13. I might do a parlay later. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do a parlay here. I'm going to go Jalen Brunson at plus 2,200, the NBA Finals MVP. Oh, I can't do that as a parlay. Because I already did the wager. Fuck. I'm going to take Jalen Brunson. I'm going to bet another $150. I already did that. I already placed the bet. All right. Oh, man. The max wager on that's only 114. Well, okay. See that? Even FanDuel looks after you. They're like, you know what? You don't want to spend it. I'm only going to win $2,508. So I'm taking Jalen Brunson as the NBA Finals MVP. I'm taking the Knicks plus 2,200. And you know what now? Get a 50% profit boost token to use on a live wager for any NBA playoff games on April 14th to earn bonus to enter into the NBA playoff Palooza for a chance to win bonus bets or a profit boost token. You're going to get a chance to share over $2 million. Of course, that's FanDuel.com, the number one sportsbook in America. Go to the mighty FanDuel. AJ says, better song, Heartbeat or Eddie Murphy's Party All the Time? I was just listening to Party All the Time yesterday. Girl, you see me in clubs, just hanging out and dancing. You gave your name and number to every man you see. Got to know what your hand with, because that's what he does. You never come home at night because you're out romancing. Why don't you bring home that sweet home love to me? My girl wants to party all the time. Sorry. Sorry. Joe Shane press conference at 3:30 today. Probably will announce his resignation, though, but we can always hope. Yeah, he's not going to announce his resignation. I was going to do I might jump back on at 3:30. I'm thinking of jumping back on at 3:30 and doing the press conference. I'm more of an NSYNC fan. But I'm thinking about doing the press conference at 3:30. I'm thinking about doing it live. I was actually going to do a live at 3:30 today. But I don't know. We'll see. Because Joe Shane's not going to say shit. Joe Shane, we've said it before. Joe Shane wouldn't say shit if he had a mouth full of it. And we all know Joe Shane's pretty much full of it. Joe Ferry says it's like watching Hyatt run an advanced route tree. No more. Jalen Hyatt has like a route bush. He kind of just goes straight a little bit and just kind of fucking runs in circles. Hey-o. But I'm telling you guys, I'm seeing it. I could see that would be a move that would make sense. You trade T. Higgins, a 4th rounder. You do a swap of a late round pick for Dexter Lawrence. The contracts match. Not perfectly. You're going to have to still do a little maneuvering, but when it was brought up to my attention, I was like, wow, it does match. Matches completely. Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, we all have that. We all have that hope. Let's see what we got going on here up in the chat. Good morning, Tim. Good to smash that like button on the way in. So DJ Rader's coming in already came in for a visit. He came in for a visit yesterday. Wouldn't mind signing him. He's a true nose tackle that would help the run defense. I don't need DJ to be a penetrator.
That's what she said.
I need DJ to hold the line. I need him to get a push into and push the offensive line back a little. I need DJ to create lanes for my linebackers to flow through, to do the feng shui thing and flow like water. That's what I need. That's what I need DJ to do. I don't need him to do anything else. You're 31 years old. You only play 55% of the snaps. I still have Darius Alexander. I'm gonna probably pick up if I look at the draft, I'm probably gonna pick up a defensive tackle in this draft as well, maybe in the later rounds, especially if I swap and get an extra 4th. I've already said it before. I'm a big fan of Lee Hunter. I don't think we're going to get Lee Hunter. I like Corleone, even though we all know what happened with Fredo. I like Dominique Orange. We've talked about Dominique Orange, I don't know, 1,000,000 times. I like Tim Keenan III out of that's love it. I like Tim Keenan III out of Alabama. I like Harris at Ole Miss. And I love what someone yesterday was like, well, are you going to expect a rookie to come in and start? Dalvin Tomlinson did. Dalvin Tomlinson came in and played well. The Giants have had a propensity of finding good quality, through multiple regimes, finding good quality defensive tackles later in the draft. So yes, a rookie, Darius Alexander, and DJ makes sense. I love it. Greg says DJ doesn't pay to dance. He can dance for inspiration. He gets paid to stop the run. Hint, hint, Dexter. Yeah, that is a good hint, Greg. Mike Leal says, if we sign him, would you still? Yes, I would still draft a defensive tackle. He's 31. I would still draft a defensive tackle. Well, luckily, we just talked about FanDuel. FanDuel.com. Keyshawn the Bruce says, Tim, what's up? Off Broadway says, hit that like button because before the broadcast starts. What about you? Oh, I hit that like button before the broadcast starts. I don't know. I never hit the like button. Should I stream the Joe Shane press conference at 3:30? Should I cause myself anxiety and aggravation? I'm still debating this. I could just do a video afterwards. But I'm like, should I stream the presser? I'll probably get in trouble, but I don't care. I'm always in trouble. Off Broadway. Let's see. Behold, Big Tim in the afternoon. Big Tim. We're always in the afternoon. We always start in the afternoon from 11 to about 1. But if I decide to stream the presser at 3:30, is it at 3:30? I shouldn't be talking New York Giants, Joe Shane, presser. conference. Or should I wait till it's over and do the replay? Yeah, let's see. Press conference. Yeah. I don't want to work. I thought it was at noon. If you want me to be 100% honest, I thought it was at noon. So I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was at 12 o'clock. I thought it was at 12 o'clock because I was kind of hoping it was at 12 o'clock because then I could have done it. Wait, let's see here. Is it 3:30? Do we have confirmation that the press conference is at 3:30? Because I would like to know that. I keep having people ask me about Brandon Allen. He's a camp arm. He's a camp arm, and he's a guy that you're going to put on the practice squad. I don't want to talk about him anymore. In 2020, Joe Shane pre-draft Craftsman will address the nation. Ooh, wow. Okay, he's going to address the nation. Is it at 3:30? Can someone answer to me if the press conference is at 3:30? Let me go to the Daily News and look. Guys, I can't be this professional if you're not going to help me. It's my lack of professionalism which makes me so professional. Will this be Joe Shane's final pre-draft press conference? I don't know. Big Blue Interactive. Oh, yeah, 3:30. Okay, senior vice president and general manager. I didn't know he was senior vice president. When did that happen? 3:30 today. Oh, dear Lord. Great. I got to work. Big Tim holding down the lunchtime. This in the afternoon drive is what does it for me. I appreciate you, off Broadway. Let's see. Big Joe Spano says, I watched the film, and Dex was double 2,000. I added to 2,000% of the time. I know you only wrote 200, but I'm going 2,000% of the time. Joe Ferries, Dex, Burns, Carter are getting double teamed next season. So when they got a deal with 6 defenders. Sorry, I'm late. It's okay to be late, AJ. It's always good. James Stein says, good morning, Tim. What's going on? Mike Lee says, should have named 12 players so you could have said he was overpaid. Honestly, I couldn't think of 12 players. I did that Mike Lee, I did that off top of my fucking head yesterday. And I couldn't remember I couldn't remember 40% of their names. Can't we give him an extra $5 million so he'll shut the fuck up? No, I think he wants a big deal. He's already said that he wants to be paid like Chris Jones. And Chris Jones is so different of a player in regards to what he does in that Kansas City defense. Joe says, DJ knows his role, take on blockers at the point of attack, keep your gap integrity, allow the linebacker to make the play in the run game without having to shed a ton of blockers. There we go. Joe just wrapped it up. I can go home now. Well, I am home. I just want to take and neuralize the last 5 years. That's all I want to do of Giant football. Because we are finally at the precipice. We are finally at the crest. Not the toothpaste. Hey-o. We are finally at that point where I think we are making that turnaround. That we are making that switch or that change into a different direction, which is going to allow us to start becoming a good quality organization again. And we are finally ridding ourselves of players and talent that have been here who have not produced to the point that they need to produce, that we can finally move on from these guys, get in a new and hopefully better talent pool and move forward.
This town needs an enema.
And honestly, I think the last remnant and one of the biggest enemas we need to get rid of is Dexter Lawrence. I know that sounds crazy, but, and I've said it before, is he even going to be good? Is he going to be even here or he's not going to be at the peak of his game when the Giants are good. So I'm going to be paying $30+ million for a 32-year-old Dexter Lawrence. That if you take a look at, listen, being in shape. Round is a shape, but it doesn't mean you're in shape. We've watched his weight balloon since he's come into the league. I love it how some people have him at 342. Last time I saw the weigh-in, he was at 350. It's just time. Mike Lee says Bears need to save money moving trucks to ship them to Indiana. That's pretty fucking crazy. Let's see here. Joe says run defense automatically gets better with Reader at the nose and Dex off the nose. It also gets better with Dex gone. Joe Ferris, keep Kayvon, get a comp pick. He's gonna get paid huge if he gets 8.5, 10 sacks. What if he gets 3? They always say bird in the hand beats 2 in the bush.
That's what she said.
What if he gets 3? What if he comes up and pulls up a stinker? What if Abdul Carter and Brian Burns play Pac-Man and gobble up all the sacks? What if he's exposed in the run game again? No one's going to take him. And honestly, what, we maybe get a 3rd or a 4th round pick as a compensatory pick if we get any. Joe likes swaps. He says swaps are good. Mike Lee's just sold. James Stein said we need linebackers who can play the position and stop the run, who can cover with wide receiver short routes. I don't want my linebackers covering wide receivers. That's why I'm going to have quality safeties. That's why I'm looking if I do want to have that, and I don't want to put that pressure on him, but that's why you go out and get Sonny Styles. Being a Giant fan sucks. We are never good, and all the fans do is talk about ridiculous trades all day. Well, that's why we have Chode Sports. That's what I was trying to pull up for James. Someone created on the last stream a thing that said Chode Sports. And I told James about it. Oh, shit. Why am I... Damn it. Oh, my God. The sock Muppets are out of fucking control here because I can't even crop this shit because it keeps spinning around. I love this. I might just use this as my... I might use this as my bottom doohickey thingy for the... I'm sorry. I really didn't want to get into technical terms, and it's with the bottom doohickey thingy. But that's just technical. That's just, oops, who's that? I don't want that. That's just radio talk. Doohickey thingy. Okay, here you go, James. I found it, James. It took me a minute here.
That's what she said.
What do we got here? I'm going to stream at 3:30. Here we go, James. I love this. The Chode Sports. I told James about this. Here you go, James. They made James. You have made it to a meme. I guess that's a meme. I don't know what that would be called, but you have made it to your own channel. You are the leader of Chode Sports. That's James Williams, my brother. What do we got here? Also, Joe Spence. We need a lot of things. James Stein. It's not going to happen overnight. Nope. You're right. Emrod says hold him until the draft deadline. If he's playing better, we get more in next year's draft, which is supposed to be a better class. No, I agree. You're not going to move Dexter Lawrence unless you get a massive deal to post June 1st, because then you're only on the hook for $6 million dead cap space the next 2 years. And then you would be on the hook. If you did a pre-June 1st, you would be on the hook for $13 million in dead cap space this year and $6 million next year. So you're going to save $6 million. So unless the deal really blows you away, I'm not going to push it. Damn it. Let's see here. Welcome to my area. Okay. We already got the Charlie Brown. Joe Smano says T is a great number 2. Should be happy with that. Alvin Harper was a great number 2. How did it work out for him when he tried to be a number 1? Well, when he went to Tampa, it didn't work out very well, Alvin Harper. I think Alvin Harper still misses Michael Irvin, Troy Aikman, and Emmitt Smith. Bigger jump the shark moment than Tim blaming leg injuries on Jackson. Hey, I'm not blaming Jackson Dart. I'm like, listen, you know what? I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this loud and proud. Hit the fucking like button. What's wrong with you people? Your arm's broken? Oh, we're talking about Jackson Dart. Listen, I tried being nice. I tried being a nice guy. Didn't work. It didn't take. So you're stuck with me. I'm going to say this again. If you were looking, and I know a lot of giant content creators don't agree with this. This is why they're fucking morons who've never played football. Matt Nagy is the perfect fit for Jackson Dart. If you, unless you could go back and get a Bill Walsh, unless you can go back and get a George Seifert, we talked about this. Unless you can go back and get a Steve Mariucci. If you want to put Jackson Dart into a system that is predicated on his talents and gives you the ability to take what he does best and augment that with players that really do fit this system. Malik Neighbors fits, Darnell Mooney fits, Isaiah Likely fits, Darius Slayton fits, and you can get something productive out of Theo Johnson. Jackson Dart is the guy. And you can teach this kid to be a fucking NFL quarterback. You can learn him up. Because we've said it before. They did such a disservice for him. Brian Dable and Squints. They did such a sorry. Baby shark do. Sorry. Was at the Lego store. Yeah, I'm 15, 5 years. I'm fucking 5 years old. Leave me alone. Why come I get the shark head off?
That's what she said.
He fits everything that you want to do. He can run an offense horizontally between -2 and 10 yards. That's a 12-yard window. That then can convert vertically with Mooney, Neighbors, and Likely, which then in turn allows you to create running lanes, consistent open running lanes for Tracy Scattaboo and whomever. He's Matt Nagy can make Jackson Dart an NFL quarterback. Last year, and you can agree with me or not, it doesn't matter because this is my show. It's my party and I'll rhyme if I want to. Last year, Jackson Dart was an Ole Miss quarterback playing in the NFL. He was running an Ole Miss system. Brian Dable even came out. We asked Jackson Dart what plays he likes to run at Ole Miss, and those are the plays we're going to run. That's why he was incredibly effective during the scripted plays, the first 15 plays of the game. And then he dropped off exponentially, and then he had to try to freelance because that's what he did with Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. So they did a disservice by not teaching him to be an NFL quarterback. You have a guy in Callahan and Matt Nagy who have had success at making NFL quarterbacks, and a system for Jackson Dart, if he plays within the system, makes a lot of sense. Old Milwaukee. Tibbs might get an Old Milwaukee. That was our beer of choice. I was looking down at the chat. That's our beer of choice, Old Milwaukee. Old Milwaukee, yeah. We love to drink it down. Old Milwaukee and Peels. Old Milwaukee for like a case back in the late 80s, early 90s was like $6.99. Dex also has shown he won't play 100% if he's not happy. I agree. Let's see who Spano. Let's see Spano. Even you're young back then. Harper reference was past exposure date a decade ago. That makes it even worse, Joe, because I knew the reference. AJ is going to New England. Wait, AJ Brown got traded to New England? AJ Brown. Yeah, because that'll work out real well. I don't see anything about AJ Brown going to New England. Why are you lying, James? Why you being a Chode Sports, James? Joe's press conference at 3:30 probably won't announce his resignation, although we could always hope. I'm going to stream at 3:30. I am going to stream at 3:30. I don't know. That's going to really fuck my day because I got so much other things to do in the house. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah. Definitely got a lot of stuff to do in the house. Yeah, definitely got a lot of stuff. Yeah. All right, fine. We'll stream. I was never young. I saw an Odessa Turner Joe Ferries, why are you saying you're old when you remember Odessa Turner? Odessa Turner is like 62 years old. That expired about 20 years ago. He hasn't played in the NFL since 93. He had that one big season in 89 for the Giants, came in the year after the Super Bowl. Only played I think he only played 4 games during the 90s season. I don't think Jordan Tyson's Odessa Turner. And Odessa Turner was a 4th round pick. So I'm not I'm just playing Joe. Call in. Joe, we might have Joe call in. We don't know. We might have some. You sing Backstreet Boys. Everybody rock your body. Backstreet's back. All right. Oh my God, we're back again. Joe Shane, James Williams is saying Joe Shane is announcing a new Keurig machine for the offices. It's like, Joe, how's the coffee in the building? Well, our new head coach really loves it. It's called the Daily Grind. We can only hope, but that's not going to happen. I'm going to stream the press conference. Fuck it. NFL be damned. I love when the NFL, I used to get the cease and desist orders and things because I would broadcast and I would show portions of the game while I was at the stadium. I frame them. What are they going to do to me? Put me in content creator prison. Oh, let's see here. Oz, what's up, Big Oz? I'm hoping for a draft day trade where they trade Tibbs and Lawrence for extra picks. Like I said, Oz, it would have to blow you away.
That's what she said.
To get the trade on Lawrence, because you could save $6 million if you do a post June 1st. Tibbs, I agree with you 1,000%. The Dodge costs $50 to drive in the town for Tim. Listen, the only thing I don't like about my Dodge, the 1320, because there's only 333 of them made, is the fact that it's called the Angry Bee. Couldn't be like the Cobra. Couldn't be like, the Viper, the Mustang, the Jaguar. It's the Angry Bee. Now, if you're allergic to bees, that's fucking scary as shit. But if you're not allergic to bees, but then I found out not too long ago that it's also referred to as the baby demon. Because when you go into the race system, the race computer, the drag computer, you can have back screens, and one of them's a baby demon. So, big Darius Alexander. Darius Alexander is a guy that rushes the passer, but we can still use him on Montpellier. I love Lee Hunter. Tim has exposed all the New York Giants lies. Now I want a deep throat investigation of whether Big Dash is actually Darius Alexander. Does Big Dash look like Darius Alexander? I didn't know that. I'm excited that we're going to stream twice today. I might have another cup of coffee. How does this guy stand up? Okay, never mind. What's up here? Philosopher, what's up, brother? Good morning, Tim. The Giants were good at drafting defense tackles with Joe Shane. Well, you know what? You're right. I should have said that. But Joe's not running the draft. Big John is. Or Big Joe is. John Harbaugh is. Joe Harbaugh is. Every Harbaugh is. We're bringing the whole Harbaugh fucking family in and run the draft. Two down run pluggers hit the ground running quicker than most positions. I agree. I'll probably stream it. I'm anxious and somewhat aggravated. You just want me to stream it because you want to close out the day with something to listen to. And just for you, Joe, and Off Broadway, and everyone else in the chat, I'm streaming at 3 something. Well, I got to get the one kid, and I got to remember to pick him up. You forget to pick up your kid 3 or 4 times, and you're a bad parent. I've only forgot to pick him up once. Then after, I'm going to stream. I'll stream till like 5 o'clock. Joe, shame. Press conferences are funny because he has anxiety, and then Pat Leonard is going to try to dunk on him. Yeah, Joe, I do feel bad for Pat Leonard. Hey-oh. Yes, real-time commentary would be awesome. Okay. Sean says, what do you really learn from Joe Shane? Wait till it's over. I was thinking about waiting until it's over. And I would like to play Helldiver. But then I got to work tomorrow, and I got tax day. I'm gonna. Yeah, I don't know, Sean. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. Why not? Because it's not. It's only gonna be like 20 minutes long, right? And then I could cut up a bunch of shorts, and then I could put them on Believe. Could Deck's attitude come from the previous regime trying to make him a nose tackle when he knows he's not? I don't remember him getting fined for being overweight. He's never going to get fined. He's not. He is never. Dexter Lawrence is now at that point where he is never going to get fined for being overweight because he's been in the league for so long. He's been all pro, second team twice. So you know he's never going to get fined. He's never going to get fined at all. And technically, his best season, if you want to get technical, and I know we don't like getting technical, but his best season in 2022, which is when he had the most tackles, he had, I think, the second most sacks. The tied for most tackles for lost and most quarterback hits was in the wink system, and the majority of the time he played in the nose tackle position. He played left defensive tackle along with Dalvin Tomlinson in 22 and I think was 20 or 19 and 21 or 20, whatever it was. And then he was actually in interior defensive lineman in 23, and then he played defensive tackle, left defensive tackle, both in 24 and 25. So he really did. He did play almost a true nose under wink. Yes, I do enjoy Pat Leonard with, "Hey Joe, got a question." I understand your question. I don't like Pat Leonard. He's never agreed to fucking come on the show. He's never agreed to come on. So we don't like Pat Leonard. I've never invited him, but that's not my problem. He should fucking know by osmosis.
Warning, sarcasm. Warning, sarcasm.
Just want to make sure because a lot of people don't understand that sarcasm. Yes, please, let's not start the Brandon Allen fan club. Well, we need a Tommy DeVito. We need someone to root for to come in and look good and then all of a sudden suck. We need a Tommy DeVito. I'm trying to see, should I make a Brandon Allen song? Or should I just anoint him Tommy DeVito? I want to play the sound effect, but I can't find it. Jersey Shore Tommy.
Wait for the Brandon Allen drop.
No, it doesn't work. Press conferences is worthless. Yeah, you're right. He's never going to say anything. The Giants aren't Brandon Allen. The Giants win the pennant. He's only got seniors in the title because everyone else got fired. It's by default. The Mets just signed Ozzie Canseco. Now we're going back to the 90s. Everybody. Sean says we need a good linebacking core to finally take advantage of all these alleged double teams. Thank you for using the word alleged double teams with Dexter Lawrence. I'm getting tired of hearing that shit. But I'm going to say this. This is the nugget that I'm going to drop for you, Sean. It's not even a nugget because I've already talked about this. Depending on what we do trade-wise, I have no problem double dipping round 1 and 2 for the linebacking core. You have a good start with Tremaine Edmonds. You're okay with Micah McFadden. And people kind of forget what the Giants depth chart looks like at the linebacking position. And because you forgot that, I'm going to tell people because this is going to give you my rationale and reasoning for double dipping at the linebacker position. You're right now looking at Micah McFadden, Tremaine Edmonds. With Darius Muasau, Zaire Barnes, Schwartz Bozeman, and I'm not talking Schwartz from A Christmas Story, and you're taking a look at Cam Jones, of course, came over from the Jets, with potential play by Abdul Carter and Kayvon Thibodeau. Oh, dear Lord. Outside of Tremaine Edmonds, Micah McFadden still has almost a 13% missed tackle percentage for his entire career. Darius Muasau is a special teamer. You need to find some linebackers immediately. And I'm talking immediately. And I laugh to this point that people on the depth chart have Greg Newsome starting at right corner alongside Paulson Adebo. You need a safety. You need to hope to God that Drew Phillips at the nickelback position turns into something and stops giving up 78% completion percentage. You need to find two safeties, but your linebacker, if you can hold the line with Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, Roy Robert Harris, Abdul Carter, which is a big if at times, and you put someone like DJ in the middle there, you can have a flow and create a flow with your linebackers if you get Sonny Styles. Imagine a linebacking core of, and we've talked about this before, but imagine if you run a 4-3. Now, I know we've talked about the fact that, Denard Wilson is going to be more prevalent with a 3-4, but let's say he looks at the talent, runs a 4-3. You have a linebacking core of, let's say, Sonny Styles, Tremaine Edmonds, and then you go pick up either an Anthony Hill, Jacob Rodriguez, or a Josiah Trotter. That's actually, even though you're starting two rookies in the linebacking core, that's not a bad situation because it's better talent that you have now. Sean says it's not crazy that he needs to go back because he's not worth the money that he wants. So you're right. Keep shame makes no sense. Giants have been ridiculed. It's not even funny because I've actually talked to people that are still in the NFL. And I laugh because they're all like outside the New York bubble. Joe Shane's a fucking joke. It's a joke at cocktail parties. Hey, watch it. Don't get Joe Shaned. Everybody, where many likes are we at? How many likes do we have? Does anyone fucking know? We should have 100 or 40. That's good. How about 50? And 50. James Williams says Andrew Thomas, Dexter Lawrence, the two best defensive linemen that never been first team All-Pro. You're right. You're right. It's crazy. James says the only thing that Joe is going to, I understand the question. Wow, I imagine the hose you would need. Omega says, Tim, is this right? But the last time the Giants won the division was 2011. This is unacceptable in the last 15 years. Yes, you're not wrong. The Giants have been putrid for, I'm going to say 11, 12 years. Been the laughing stock of this league. You finally got a coach in the Harbaugh that has come in here and offered credibility. You've had an off season that in the last 7 does not make me want to vomit. Yes. If all goes well, we are going to head in the right direction. I've said it before. I said it the day they signed that albatross of a contract for Daniel Jones, when I kept having to hear other content creators tell me, well, it's really only a 2-year deal. Yeah, dead cap space lives forever, though. And I kept trying to explain to people, when he flames out, you're going to have to draft a quarterback in 25, which we did. You're going to have to give that quarterback the 26th season to hopefully get better and show he's the guy. And then you should start seeing positive dividends truly towards a playoff situation in 27. And that's kind of the arc we are now. Now, bringing in John Harbaugh just makes it all better. Well, let's see here. Sean says, Trayvon is a linebacker and Baltimore Ravens had the top run defense in the last 25 years. Harbaugh needs to get this run defense fixed. John Harbaugh, in his press conference a couple weeks back, and we covered that one. We didn't cover it, but we did a show afterwards. Only like 2,000 people watched it, so I'm not going to fucking say anything. It's all right, though. I don't care. Just work here, and I don't ask for anything. I don't get money. I don't get super chats, and I just turn out content. And yeah, it's okay. I don't care. Doesn't bug me any. He talked about fixing the run defense. He talked about the staple of this team should be fixing the run defense. Slider, good morning, sir. Do you like signing our new defense? We haven't signed him yet. He went in. He went in on Monday. There was no contract on Monday. So yeah, I mean, he would be the perfect fit for the Giants. We talked about him briefly yesterday, and then I thought it was hilarious that he was in the building. I understand your question, but I stubbed my toe. Let's see here. Kayvon Thibodeau is a linebacker. You need a linebacker to stop the run. The Ravens have a top 2 run defense past 24. Oh, we got to that one already. Who will see first, Bryce Ford Wheaton or McLovin? I don't know. I don't know where McLovin is. I don't know. Maybe he went on an extended cruise.
I am McLovin.
He's right there. What the fuck's wrong with you? Let's see. James Williams just having too good of a time because I'm really late in the fucking chat. Tibbs is not a linebacker. You're right, 1,000%. I think he's listed as a defensive lineman on the roster right now. Trade Tibbs for cap space, but free agency is over, dude. I'm trading Tibbs for assets. The time that we've talked about this a million times, the time to trade Kayvon Thibodeau has passed. If you ever thought of getting a second day pick for him, that's over. Even if he puts up 5.5, 6 sacks before the trade deadline, you are still not getting more than a 4th or 5th rounder for him because of the fact that he is going to be a rental. Because he is going to be an unrestricted free agent. So he is going to be a rental for any team. Joe let the ghost man for 18 packs of Coors Light and going fishing. Snowpiercer. What did I say? What did I miss? What did I say now to Snowpiercer? Slider says Tim's again. Content creators want OC that's fresh meat. It just, and I'm trying to be nice. Let me get to the super chat because all super chat go to the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. Then I'm going to try to be nice. Big Sean says, you're right. Shameless, you're right. I really appreciate an NFL insider such as yourself having conversations with the little guy. Solid show, brother. Appreciate it. Thank you. We got some guests coming up too. I'm not looking at you, Joe Spano, but we got some guests coming up right now. And it's going to be interesting. I thought he didn't like me. I thought you said that guy didn't like me. Big Blue Interactive. Or he didn't know who I was. Everyone knows who I am. I am the fly in the ointment, Hans. I'm the monkey in the wrench. I'm the monkey wrench. On the wrench, monkey in the wrench, or whatever he says. It's good to be the king. But thank you. Sean, all super chats go to the Philadelphia Children's Hospital. All right, here we go. Slider says, I know Giant Contractors wanted the OC from the Commanders, but I don't like him. Here's the thing. And then I'm going to go back to the top of the chat because I'm going to say this in the most eloquent, the most rational way, and the way that's not going to get me in trouble with any other content creators or any other people that produce giant content, because there are some good ones. I like Big Dash. I like the Giants Revival guys. I still like Bad Dog. There's probably some people that I'm missing that I can't think of. I like Giants Rush. I mean, so I'm going to put this in an eloquent fashion that will not be perceived to be derogatory towards anyone else's talent as someone who makes giant content creators, but you're all fucking stupid. You don't know the NFL. I'm talking about not everyone, but a good portion of it. You don't know the NFL. You do not know. We've talked about it before. You don't know. You like to throw out terms. You like to throw out things, but you don't know what they mean. we've gotten into detail with former players here on certain things. And it's like, I have people tell me these things, and I would love people to explain to me gap integrity or two gapping. Or exactly, we've talked about it before, or talk about the gap scheme itself, or talk about what the A gap to the B gap to the C gap to the D gap is. I would love to get these opinions on some of these things, because they play Madden and they think, well, I'm going to run a 3-4 and I'm just going to call this secondary right here. This is what I'm going to do. But that's not football. And when they give these minutia breakdowns of what the Giants should do, it's never based in football knowledge. It's always based on the most rudimentary thing. That's why I call these people ChatGPT experts. And they don't look at the personnel. They don't look at the salary cap. They don't look at the style or go back through history of what certain coordinators like to do. That's like when everyone got upset with Matt Nagy. I was like, why? This makes sense. I was like, this literally makes sense for Jackson Dart. We literally went back and explained everything from going back into NFL history from the 94 George Seifert West Coast offense, how it matriculated over to the Andy Reid type style offense, how it then moved over to the Matt Nagy style type offense, how when he ran that in the 5 years that he had so much success in in Chicago with Mitchell Trubisky, and you have to hope that, and you should know that your quarterback Jackson Dart is better than Mitchell Trubisky. So if you put a better quarterback into the system, you should produce better results because of the fact we need to let him.
You can't keep me cooped up in here, okay? I am a peacock. You gotta let me fly.
And just because he runs around, he's not Fran Tarkenton, he's not Michael Vick, he's not Steve Young, he's not Joe Montana, he's Jackson Dart. And Jackson Dart has a certain skill set which totally fits the Matt Nagy offense. But I have to look at some of these headlines and people are like, well, you know what? It's not a good fit for him. What are you, a fucking moron?
Lombardi. Also, magic still lingers in the name of duels on the ice and the snow.
Joe, that was for Joe Spana. I was just showing you my range. I was doing a little John Facenda, I could also do a little, Bob Shepard.
Sims to McConkey. First down.
Oh, sorry, man. I love it. Go to the doctor. And as you get older, I always joke you leak testosterone. So, of course, you get your blood work done, you get everything, and then the doctor tells you you don't need testosterone. If anything, we need to try to drain some out of you at this age. Sean says, I really like Marshall Green from Chat Sports. Have you watched? Excellent. No, we will never watch Marshall Green. We will never watch Chode Sports. AJ says, Tim, I never said he didn't like you. I said a lot of his members did. Oh, okay. I don't give a fuck. Like we said, AJ, reached in my pocket. I found zero fucks. I'm too old in life. It's too old. But that's okay. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know who they are, to be honest. I know when you sent it to me, I was like, oh, they seem like cool guys, older guys. Probably going around and have a beer. Have a beer, don't cost nothing. I never said he didn't like you. He'd be like, I bet he'd like to come on. He isn't some Johnny come lately chode. His site has been going. I know he's been around. I know Big Blue whatever has been around for a while because I think they actually have press credentials at the Giants, don't they? Someone told me that. Is that a lie? Making sure nobody's lying to me. I'll have anybody on. I got a list. Well, no, it's a different list. But I would love to have different people on. I think that'd be fun. How long were you holding that ranting? 4 weeks. That's like someone asked me again yesterday, how many miles to the gallon did your car get this week? 3. What's up, Big Phil? Thank you for the super chat. All super chats go to the Philadelphia Children's Hospital. Trade tips, Dex and Banks for some picks this year, next year. None of them make any difference. Playing the way they are, I'd rather have the picks. Phil, you missed it. We missed it. I talked to some people today. No, actually, it was yesterday. Here's the deal. You trade Dexter Lawrence, and I got this from 2 sources. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but 2 people thought this was the good idea. You're going to trade Dexter Lawrence to the Bengals for T. Higgins, a 4th rounder, and a late round swap. Because the salaries are almost identical. $26.7 million in dead cap space to $26.9. You then take Kayvon Thibodeau, you trade him for a 4th or a 5th rounder, make it a conditional 3rd based off of performance. And you take that pick for Kayvon and push it into the 27 draft, which is a higher draft. And you still get not your 3rd back, but you get an additional 4th this year. Greg says, I have to run. Sorry, going to miss today's conferences. Oh, Greg fucked it up for everybody. Everyone thank Greg. Now I'm not going to do it because Greg's not going to be here. Hope you're doing something fun, Greg. Or maybe you're working. Greg, you will be missed. I do like having Greg in the chat. Sorry. Sometimes I'm literally like a cat. Like, ooh, something shiny. Let's play with that. Mark. Excellent. Mr. Burns, we call him. Afternoon. So what's going on, brother? I heard we can get a 1st rounder for Dex from San Diego. Well, we might be able to get it from San Diego. The only problem is they're in LA. No, San Diego's not giving up. San Diego's not giving up their 1st. And I heard that rumor because of the Harbaugh connection, but they're not doing that. Strider says Chode Sports did an interview with John Harbaugh about stopping the run just to sound smart. They've been talking about it for almost 10 years now. AJ said used to until they pissed off Pat Heyman. He pulled Eric's credentials. Oh, really? I didn't know that. So who are we talking? Where the fuck is Zach? I'm lost now. Who are we talking about again? I'm lost. I got lost again. I got to go back up to the chat a little bit. I missed Spaceballs. There's a Spaceballs 2's coming out. I see your Schwartz is as big as mine. May the Schwartz be list you. I only listen to you, Pat Leonard, and Big Dash. Well, because you have taste. Except for the Pat Leonard thing, because we hate Pat Leonard because he's never been on the show. He's never agreed to come on. Why? It's racist. It's racial. Just because I never invited him doesn't mean he shouldn't come on. Pat Leonard on the show would be epic. Libras are getting fired for being overweight. Fat shaming can't happen. What did I miss? What did I miss? I missed something. Where do you go, my lovely? It was interesting to read Wink Mill. I did see the Wink Martindale. Well, you got to remember, and it's weird though, because Wink got fired by Harbaugh, and he got fired by the Giants. And we told the story, and I don't want to tell it again because I don't want to give away the person who told me the story, because they actually work in the building, and Big L and I met them at a bar they were going to a wedding. And he was a little tipsy, and he told us the whole story about what happened with Wink that day in the building, and how basically Brian Dable's a dick. And it's interesting because Wink is saying that he's retired from college football, but a comeback to the Giants. I mean, you're not gonna demote, or you're not gonna do anything to Denard Wilson, but Denard Wilson is a fairly new defensive coordinator. This will only be his 3rd opportunity, and his tenure in Tennessee is debatable at best. I remember when the Giant fans wanted him, and I kept saying, no, he's not ready. I didn't know they were going to go Shane Bowen. Could have got Steve Wilkes, but I'm not going to say targets up with that. But I know they went. I didn't think they were going to go Shane Bowen. I didn't think he was ready 3 years ago, but I do think he's ready now, Denard Wilson. If you brought Wink in as a defensive consultant, maybe just for training camp, I think that would be great. I think that would be awesome because, like I said, the last good defense we had, and it was only ranked 18th, was in 22 when we made the playoffs under Wayne Martindale. Let's see. I understand the question. Did I say I was doing? I didn't get an email from you, Slider. When did you email it? Push everything back to the wall. Gold is up. Hi ho, silver. So silver. When did you email me? Hold on, let me go to my email. Hold on, I'm making sock muppets. Hi ho. I did not get an email from you, Slider. Oh, I did. Oh, here you go. You literally just emailed me at 11:18. If you could do me a favor, could you email me your actual name? Because it's going to be a lot easier to get the package over to you. Could you send me who I'm going to send it to? Oh, look at this. How nice. Oh, my goodness. Oh, wow. Belief did something Joe, I got to show you something. Belief did something very nice. Here, Joe, I'm going to send you. I'm going to do a screenshot. I'm going to send you this. Because I'm supposed to do something, but I'm gonna wait till tomorrow to do this. But I'm gonna send this to Big Joe. Hold on, everyone, just amuse yourself. I'm busy. Hold on, let me go there, and I go there, and I'm gonna go there. There we go, Joe. Hopefully, I sent that to Joe. Joe, I'm gonna have you on in a minute. Let's see here. I already read that. He emailed me. Where are we at here? James Williams says Brunson looks like he's hauling a cab in the background. Jalen Brunson is hauling a cab in the background. Let's see. Extending Dexter would bring back more in a trade at the deadline or something. Eat money better than draft picks. Yeah, you would have to work. You would have to work that out with your other team, but I don't know. Trading debt. You're not going to trade him until post June 1st. That's what I'm going with. Here's a great stat for you nerds. All the top 25 linebackers scored the past 25 years of the Super Bowl went to the Super Bowl. Oh, I didn't know that. 4-2 big nickel most of the time. Book it. Who ran the 4-2 big nickel? AJ, can you tell me what successful Giant recently, off defensive coordinator, ran the 4-2 big nickel quite a lot? Because we actually did this at times. I know you know. I feel bad for young Giant fans. The only thing that you got to see was OBJ, Barkley make the playoffs each once. They don't know how we used to win divisions all the time. And like I said, I've said this before. I don't fault the younger Giant fan. The guy that's 17 to 26. I don't fault those guys or gals because of the fact that they don't know any better. They've never seen, to your point, they've never seen truly year in, year out competitive football from the New York Football Giants. And when you have social media, and I've always said this before, I think the advent of social media was kind of misleading. It's not James Betcher. Close though. He did run a 4-2-5 big nickel. He did, but it's not James Betcher. Think about it for a second. He went to the Raiders, but nobody watches ESPN anymore. I was talking to Joe Spano yesterday about this. No one listens to radio anymore. No one watches these shows. Perry Fuel was one of them. That is correct. That was one of the most successful versions of that. Also, Patrick Graham. But that Perry Fuel was actually the name that I was looking for. That's actually the name I was looking for. But they don't get their information correctly. You get your information from Madden, you get your information from these idiots that never strapped on a helmet, never played a game in their life. So they don't get it. They don't understand. So when they say dumb things, I get it. And I truly appreciate when we have our the people that watch the show. And this is why we have so many different sponsors. And, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but we got big name sponsors. We have big sponsors a lot of times. And they know that because my demographic is much older and I'm in that key ancillary income demographic where you have money to spend and people that are business professionals. So a lot of them, younger fans, when they do come here and watch and they get mad at me at first, then they start listening and then they start thinking. Then I get DMs, then I get emails that says, you know what, you're right about this stuff. And I think we just need to find a voice of reason out there. It doesn't have to be me, that can explain to younger fans how, listen, we were good once. And we were good once for an extended period of time. That's all I got to say about that. I think I am going to stream at 3:30. We got also the Big Sean. Did I get this one? Would appreciate. No, we already got to that one. But I do appreciate Big Sean. I appreciate everybody. I love everybody. I love my wife. I love my kids. I love my brother. He's a little militant, but I still love you. Do San Diego Superchargers. With Mike McDonald just winning the Super Bowl, a lot of teams are going to play a copycat. They always do. You're right. If you have a top 10 defense, Nard Wilson may not be here that long. I'm curious. Dunn sent the name and address again. Thank you, my brother. I appreciate that. I'm going to open up I'm going to open up the phone lines just before right now. We're going to get our traffic report right now from our eye in the sky. Let's see here. I'm going to put Chad in the link real quick, because I do think I'm going to come back.
That's what she said.
Sorry, I just thought of a dirty joke. I do think I'm going to come back at 3:30 and do the press conference. Why not? Why not? We got so much to talk about. And the Giants will get mad at me, and everyone will get mad at me, and no one will want to play with me, and I won't have any friends, and how come we don't have 50 likes? Okay, I'm going to do this one more time. Didn't he play like Division 12? We're going to do this one last time. Joe, when I fucking say I'm putting the link in the chat and I was texting you, what do you think that means? I'm a professional. I'm a professional, Joe. Put the link in the chat. That means you're supposed to jump on. Damn, man.
Yeah.
Fucking making me look bad.
Multitasking here, Tim.
Making me look bad. I multitask all day long. I play with Lego. I talk. I got a lot of shit going on here, man. What's going on, brother? I think we lost him. You still there?
No, I'm here. I'm still here. I'm working on it. Hang on.
All right. He's working on it. We're all just waiting for Joe.
There we go. Here we go.
Oh, there you go. Much better.
Back in business.
So we've talked about it for the last hour and 26 minutes. Big DJ came in yesterday for a visit with the Giants. True nose tackle. True. You could say a true 3-4 style nose tackle, even though he could play in a 4-3. But he is a true run plugger. He's a guy that can help create the lanes. He is the guy that can open up so many things for a free-flowing athletic linebacking core. Left without signing a deal doesn't mean anything, because a lot of players come in for a visit and don't sign a deal. What do you think the expectations are with the Giants about getting DJ, or do you think it was just a feeler to have him in before the draft?
Oh, they want to get him. They're not going to sign him before the draft, because it looks like right now, based on the calculations from different sources, and you can take those for what they are, the Giants are probably in line for a 2027 fourth-round comp pick. So they're not going to – if there's any chance that they can get a comp pick in that loaded draft next year, they're not moving on any of these one-year stopgap type guys before the draft. They will wait until after the draft. At that point, I could definitely see DJ Reader getting signed. I do hear they're not alone.
Here's my question. Here's my question now. This is what I want to bring up to you.
Sure.
We're at $6.5 to $7 million now in salary cap space with the rule of 51. That does not account for the rookie allotment. So that number is going to have to increase, and also having just operational cap space, you're going to have to increase that number leading into the end of training camp, because of course at the end of training camp, that's when you need to be under the salary cap, and that's when the rule of 51 leaves, and you're on the rule of 53. Wouldn't it make more sense, because DJ made about $12 million last year? He's probably looking for somewhere, I would say if I'm him, I'm looking at market value. I'm looking between 8 to 10 million, depending.
Well, then I'll pass.
I was going to say, that's going to be my question to her. He's probably going to be courted by other teams because he is 31 years old. He is to your point, you mentioned it earlier, he's a two down guy, but he's effective. If you take a look at the venerable Pro Football Focus compared to Dexter Lawrence, they're almost comparable to the Pro Football Focus run rankings and ratings. And it's going to be bringing him in at a lot less. I would just think that it would make sense to do it before the draft, so you can start looking at some of your restructures for the rookie allotment for your operational cap space.
Well, here's the deal. If you bring him in at that figure before the draft, you're going to lose your comp pick. Right. That's one. That's the disadvantage. At that number, I like Reader as a player. And again, we've talked about why, and we talked about why he's a good fit. At that number, I got to give up too much 2027 money to make it worthwhile. You've talked about this at length, Tim, on here. The Giants are not contending for anything in 2026. As we've stated many times, the goal here is don't have an E next to your name in the standings at Thanksgiving.
Right.
Now, if you get into December, you're playing competitive football, you win 6, you win 7 games, you see some growth in your quarterback. We've talked about the myriad of things that are your goal. Being a big winner in 2026 is not one of them. I don't want to pay $8 million for a 1-year, maybe 2-year rental guy that may not be here by the time we're good, and sacrifice future cap. If he's coming in a bargain and we're getting him at a number where the only cap impact is the converting the Holland and Adebo money to bonus money, which affects a little 2027 cap, I can live with that. If not, I think I'm going to take a pass, and I'll take my chances at the back end of the draft. To be honest with you, I can get those two down run plugging type interior defensive linemen. There are a myriad of them in the draft that I think you can get deep in day 3, round 5, round 6, round 7, priority undrafted free agent, and we can plug that hole. Bring them in, bring a bunch of them in. 1 or 2 of them are going to stick.
Now, what about when you have people that say, yes, there are always going to be players that are not going to be long-term solutions. And DJ, to me, is probably going to be one of those guys. And when you talk about bringing him in, some people will tell you this, because I talked to someone about it yesterday. If you're bringing him in on a 2-year, $16 million contract, that's just his average salary. It's not his cap hit. So you could be bringing him in at $4.5 million. We've seen it with the Darnell Mooney contract. We've seen it with a lot of the contracts that the Giants did. The first year is at an extremely low number because of the bonus money and the lower salary, then increases next year. But DJ, you could do it differently. You can give him the money up front, maybe give him $4 million, $5 million in guaranteed salary, and then put everything into bonuses, anything into workout bonus, roster bonuses, everything else, and get him to that $8 million number. And some people will say, yeah, I understand he's not a long-term solution, but you still need to fill out this roster with quality NFL talent, because a lot of times under the Joe Shane regime and the Gettleman regime, we bring in these young guys. They don't pan out. We don't win. We get high picks. They still don't work out. At least we can start creating a defensive philosophy with guys like DJ, and then hopefully have him, I'm not a big fan of, the mentor thing, especially nowadays, but have him, kind of bring some people along underneath him that could move into his spot in 27 or 28.
You make a very fair point. It all boils down to the number. Again, one thing we've seen with this Harbaugh regime is if they have a number in mind and you present value and a positive impact to this franchise at that number, we'll bring you in. If you want anything more than that number, well, thanks for playing. Thanks for stopping by. We'll move on. So if it's a number we can live with as it relates to cap hit in 26 and in 27, DJ Reader will be here. An $8 million cap hit is way too rich for me for a two-down run plugger who is good, knows his role. But to be fair, he was elite when he was with Cincinnati. He's a guy at 31. He's on a little bit of a decline.
Oh, he's definitely on the downslope of his career. That's
right.
why. That's why he hasn't played. Yeah, that's why he hasn't played more than 60% of the snaps in the last 3 years.
Right. I don't want to pay big dollars. If there was big demand for DJ Reader, he'd already be signed. I understand we're not alone. I know the Ravens are looking at him. If it becomes a bidding war, I will pass and I'll move on to the next guy. I'll move on to a Shelby Harris. There's going to be somebody that can give me professional positive snaps on the nose for a price that I can live with.
Now, when I'm going to play devil's advocate here because that's just what I do. We're saying all that about paying the right price. So how can the Giants, if they pass on DJ, even if it's at $6 million, $7 million, whatever the number is, how can they then justify paying Dexter Lawrence $28 million a year when he's really not, if you look at it correctly, he's really not a 3-down lineman anymore. He's not a guy that plays the run well. He's more of at some regards, you want to say he could be starting to be more of a quasi defensive end like he was 2 years ago when he had his 9 tackles. But you're paying a guy elite money, even though he's only the 11th highest paid defensive tackle in the league, but you're still paying a guy elite money to not do the job that he is actually was drafted years ago to do. And he's become a different player as he's more of a penetrator with the pass rush than he is a run stopper.
Well, elite pass rushers are always expensive. So if
would you call him an elite pass rusher?
At end, yes. I move him out to end. His best work has been done at end. Now, again, let's get technical here. You can either say 4-eye or 3, and
right.
You can get into the game. That's where he does his best work. It mitigates his lack of impact as a run defender to some degree, and he does his best work rushing the passer from there. When you look at him physically, it's not what you expect. But the realities are that's where he does his best work. And you can make a case, if you're the New York Giants, that maybe we've been misusing. If we put him out there, that he can do his best work and be an elite player. I mean, I'm being honest with you. I don't want to give him any more money.
I know.
But I've seen Osi Umenyiora be unhappy for a decade as a Giant, and he was unhappy every year about his contract. He went out and played.
Every year he would get his 12 tackles and 4 fumbles or 15 fumbles, and he still would complain about his contract. But here's where I was kind of going with this caveat. And I was hoping you went that way, and I was trying to lead you down that direction. If you move him more towards a defensive, we'll just call it a defensive end position. We're not going to get technical. We're just going to say a defensive end position. Is he at the defensive end position a liability against the run on the outside?
I felt less so than he was at the nose for sure. I always think with these freelancing, elite pass rushing, interior defensive lineman type, the further you take them away from the center, the less of a liability or the more of a positive, depending on how you want to look at it, they are in the run game because their freelancing nature doesn't negatively impact your run game as much.
Now, the question here's where I'm going to go with the next question. Is he a better run defender on the edge than Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, or Abdul Carter?
I would say yes. I mean, again, you're not going to get me to tell you that he's a lockdown run defender anywhere you put him.
No, I'm not asking that. We're going somewhere with this.
I think he's better than those guys as pure run defenders. I mean, none of those guys are great run defenders. That's not what they do well, and it's an issue with this defense, but you can't have 11 guys out there that all do everything well. It's just not the way it works.
I love the AJ Marshall comment. My God is my witness. I thought turkeys could fly. That is a WKRP and the big guy reference, which if you're old, you know WKRP in art. But here's the thing, though. So you have Kayvon Thibodeau, you have Brian Burns, you have Abdul Carter, and potentially, because I agree with you, I think Dexter Lawrence can do his best work on the edge. I don't think at his size and I don't think his size and his quickness as a run defender are there as they used to be back in 22. But I do think he's more effective he could be more effective than three of the guys that we have who are supposed to be predominant pass rushers. So my question is, if you think, because I always think that you should play your best players at the positions they're best suited for. Now, to your point, it doesn't look right that you got a 350-pound right defensive end. That looks kind of weird. We don't really see that a lot. But I always think you should put your best players at the best positions that they are meant to play. So my question is going to be, if you had the thought process of moving him to a defensive end type position, where are you going to play the other three?
See, it gets, obviously now what happens is you're going to have your two. And again, this is going to boil down to how this scheme all fits together. We have clues about it, but obviously he's at end. You're going to have your edges are going to be technically outside linebackers in this scheme. I mean, again, we're splitting hairs.
And that's the thing.
And guys move in and out. And obviously in passing situations, base defense, things change. Now it's 3rd and 8. 3rd and 8, Dex moves inside to rush the passer. I'm getting him on the edge because I'm trying to get him, in more neutral situations. I think he's more effective there because of the limitations of his run defense. On those 3rd and longs where I want to get all those pass rushers in, I'll take the 340-pound guy and 380, whatever he is. Let's see what he shows up at. And I'll slide him more towards the nose. Darius Alexander will hit the field. Those will be the only two defensive linemen. And then obviously Burns and Carter, they're going to be further out. And then Thibodeau rotate in. There are going to be guys because there is as they're currently constituted, they may have more guys that have to play further out away from the center than they have spots. So we may have to clean up some stuff. But that's how I would handle it right now based on my personnel and based on this big nickel that they're going to run about 70% of the time.
Here's the question, and this is where I was leading to, because I was leading. Don't forget, guys, hit the like button because I want to get to 50 or 60 likes before I leave. And if I don't get to 60 likes, I'm not coming back at 3:30. Screw you all. Taking my ball and I'm going fucking home. But this is kind of where I wanted to go to, because we had Gary Reasons on twice, and he actually pointed this out. And Emrod, this is what I want to talk about. The whole hybrid, that's the whole hybrid system, correct? Positionless players that you just put your best guys out there and then you move them around. That's kind of where the NFL has gone a lot over the last couple of years, because when we had Gary Reasons on, he made an excellent point, and he thought that positionless players, because we talked about Isaiah Simmons, kind of devalues the linebacking core a little bit than towards when he played. Because, you always had Banks, Carl, you had Banks, Taylor, Carson, and Reasons, but you had them always on the field positionally as linebackers. And then, of course, going back to 86, you had Burt, you had Leonard Marshall and then you had George Martin. You always had the same front seven, which gave you continuity, which allowed everyone to know where everyone else was playing. And I have to kind of agree, and I wanted to get your opinion on this, and I do think Emrod's kind of right. You're kind of creating these hybrid players as hybrid systems where they all kind of do a little bit of everything okay, but unlike the 85 Bears and the 46 zones, the Purple People Eaters, going back to the Minnesota Vikings, going back to the 86 to 90 Giants, going back to some of those great defenses, you saw people in constant positions which allowed them to create the best advantage for their roles. And now it's kind of like I got a bunch of guys that do a little good, I do everything kind of well, but nothing great, and I just don't see the continuity anymore. Is that change something that you see as a detriment, or you just see that's just the way the NFL has evolved over the last 40 years?
It is the way the NFL has evolved, but I think what separates the smart defensive coordinators and the successful ones from the also-rans is they don't get too married to this because, we've seen this. You mentioned Isaiah Simmons and the whole hybrid thing. Well, he did a lot of things, but he didn't do any of them well.
Right.
You got to make sure that when, this thing, well, I'm just going to put the best 11 guys on the field. No, it's got to be the best 11 guys that marry together and do things well where they are. There's a lot of figuring these things out. Does Dex moving inside and then moving back outside, who fits well with him when he's on the field in this spot and that spot? It's, when you go hybrid lid and positionless, it's not just, well, we'll throw out the best 11 guys. It's the best 11 guys as a unit in this situation, or the best 11 guys as a unit in this situation. It's not always just the best 11 guys, because you may have the best 11 guys, 7 of them on your team may be defensive backs, or 7 of them may be linebackers, whatever the case may be. So, yes, hybrid positionless football is currently the NFL. It's both sides of the ball to some degree. Everybody's trying to find these positionless guys, but you got to be careful how you marry it. Otherwise, you just have a bunch of guys running around out there playing very bad football.
Well, we've seen that for a bunch of years. We're going to give away
team sport, Tim, right? You played it. Football's still a team sport. If 10 guys do everything right and one guy does everything wrong in a run fit, what usually happens?
It just goes downhill. It goes the wrong way. But I want to give away a copy of Gary Reason's book, Reasons to Believe. If you haven't seen it, it's on Amazon. We've had Gary on the show twice. Listen, anytime a former Giant great, and Gary Reasons is in the top 100, gives me his cell phone number and calls me, he's either crazy or a really nice guy. So we want to make sure we're going to give away another copy of Gary Reason's book. I think I'm going to have Joe. Joe, I want you to think about this for a minute, because I'm going to bring James on for a second. Cool. Because I keep saying, I see this, I keep thinking, James, I just looked at you for a minute. I saw the smoke, and I was like, talk about gin and juice, laid back. The way when I saw the smoke coming, I'm sorry. It's been a long freaking day. But I'm going to get to this question. But Gary, Joe, I want you to come up a trivia question, because we're going to give away a copy of Giant trivia question of Reasons to Believe. James, welcome. But I do want to get to this question really quick, because I thought this was a good question. Off topic, do you think Jeremiah Love is just as good as a wide receiver as anyone else in the 2026 wide receiving core? No. And I'm not being a dick about it. Is he the best wide receiver? Is he the best receiver as in the running back situation? In the running back in the 2000? Yes, he is the best wide. In my mind, he is the best receiving back in this draft. Is he better than the wide receiver? Anyone in the wide receiver court? No, because I think the top 3 guys in Lemon, Jordan, and Tate are very proficient and very, very high level quality receivers. And even if you go down to Casey Concepcion or Denzel Boston, or even Omar Cooper, or hell, even Chris Bell, even though Chris Bell is, to me, is an X guy, but at 6'2", 220 pounds, he's got a little bit of the ips. And I think with the drops, I think that's more of a concentration issue. But I don't think Love is better than the top 4 guys. But I do agree. I think he is the best receiving back in this draft. So I just wanted to make sure we got to that question. Joe, do you have get everyone ready right now? We're going to give away a copy of Reasons to Believe, the Gary Reasons book. You're going to get the paperback because I don't make any money, so I can't be giving away hardbacks. You're lucky you're not getting the Kindle version. So
okay, it's a question I know that you probably know the answer to, Tim. I know that. Well, you're ineligible, but you'll know the answer. In 1925, how much did team founder Tim Mara pay to purchase the New York Giants?
Oh, that's an easy one. Actually,
too easy.
I do know that one. So we're gonna see. Everyone, just get on your Google. And
I was gonna say Google that one.
Yeah, Google that one because Joe, we have an older fan base, but they're not all dead yet. So
okay, well, if you don't like that one, I got a better one. What was Tim Mara's?
Wait. We have some answers.
Okay.
I'm gonna be a good host, and I'm gonna let you say right or wrong.
Okay. All right, he's the winner. $500 in 1925.
I was like, Joe, you're supposed to be a little quicker with this, man. You're supposed to be like.
Well, is there a bonus question? Is there bonus points?
No, there's no bonus question. I ain't got no fucking.
Because I was going to say, does anybody know what Tim Mara's occupation was?
No, I don't care.
Well, do you know?
500. By the way, my name is okay. Thank you, Slider. Bricklayer.
No, it was a
plumber.
I like bricklayer. I'm going bricklayer.
You're wrong.
I know that. Mr. Perry, please. You won not the signed copy, but you won a copy of Gary Reasons to Believe. It's the paperback book. So, Mr. Perry, if you can, he was a gambler. If you could,
he was a gambler.
What's that?
He was a bookmaker.
He was a bookmaker. He was a gambler. If you could email me at tim@onlineBigBlue.com, that's tim@onlineBigBlue.com, with your name, Susan, that is your name, but just send me your address as well. And then this is a good question for you, Joe, from Slider. What was $500 in 1925 compared to now? How much is that now?
Oh, that's a good question.
I don't know what the inflation calculator, 500.
Or you could just go to Google.
Yeah, I know, but I don't.
But send me that. Big James, my brother. How you doing? Looks like it's.
What's up, brother?
Yeah, looks like.
What's up, brother? Brother Tim, brother Joe.
It looks like.
Good morning. Actually, good afternoon, James.
Good afternoon. Oh, we're only at 58 likes. We're probably not going to hit that.
Wow.
Likes.
It's a bargain.
It's a bargain.
$9,500.
$9,500. Gotta be.
And now it's how much is it worth? How many billion?
I don't know. I still think the Giants have money problems.
It's almost as good as
doesn't make
Amazon
sense.
in early 2009.
They cancel a lot of stuff to Giants now, and then they sell a portion of the team. I've never thought I would ever see that. James, it's sunny out.
It is.
It's a beautiful day. We have the Joe Shane presser at 3:30. It's one of those things. Are you expecting anything to come out of this press conference today at 3:30 from Joe Shane besides maybe the Joe Shane minutia and him being picked on by Pat?
Well, he's definitely going to get picked on by Pat. I think Pat lives for that now. I was thinking, and again, I could be wrong, but I don't remember Joe speaking so much. I feel like he just spoke like a couple weeks ago. And now we're having another presser.
He spoke at the combine and
so combine. Now the draft is coming.
Owners meeting as well.
Owners meeting. It's a pretty bad thing when the leader doesn't invoke confidence. And the senior VP. By the way, he's only senior because he's the last person here other than Brandon Brown from the last regime. So he only has senior in his title by default. Everybody else either quit or got fired. So that's why he's senior VP. But it's just sad when your leader doesn't invoke confidence. He doesn't invoke confidence. And listening to him speak is like trying to watch somebody try to climb Mount Everest for the first time. He just struggles. He's just struggling. So no, I'm not expecting anything ground shaking or breaking. I'm pretty sure he's going to say something like, well, I'm still the general manager here. And, along with John and Dawn, we're going to work together as a collective because that's what good organizations do. We're a collective and we're going to put our heads together. We're going to come out with something good.
Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because Pat Leonard says today will today be the Joe Schoen final press conference as a New York Giants GM. A few league sources have speculated Joe Schoen could be done after the draft. He answers to John Harbaugh already. Which way will this go? Joe, do you think we're going to get any fireworks today at 3:30 from this press conference?
To get nothing. I mean, I'm going to stay outside and drink beer. You come in and watch it. I'll watch the stream. I mean, there's going to be nothing. A lot of what James said hit it right on the head. I'm the GM here. Me, Dawn, John, we work together. He's been neutered. He's a figurehead. He's the king of England. England is run by the prime minister. The king doesn't do anything but drain a nice big fat salary off the taxpayers of England. And, well, Joe Schoen's kind of doing the same thing. He's drawing a nice big fat salary off of the season ticket holders and the Mara family and the Tisch family. He doesn't have any power. This team is being built by John Harbaugh in John Harbaugh's image. They push Joe Schoen out there because he's got a title of general manager. They say, here's what you're going to say. Here's what you're going to answer. If you want to kind of defend your phony baloney job, go ahead. But when you get back, you got to go to Starbucks. And then on the way back from Starbucks, you got to pick up my dry cleaning and Dawn's too. He's powerless. He's been neutered.
I love that because we also love the philosopher.
Ooh,
yo,
philosopher.
What's up, brother? How you doing?
I saw three learned football minds. I just wanted to soak up game. It's always a pleasure, gentlemen.
Where the fuck do you see this?
I was going to say, where were you looking?
See this, man? I see three guys that look tired of the football fucking Giants right now and hoping that this whole direction changed. But you are probably the same age as James. You're young. You're optimistic. You're allowed to be that. And we got Chris for the love of MMA. Smash that like button, bro. How you doing, Chris, man? I was just thinking about you because we're not gonna go to the draft party. They moved the draft party to this place in New York, and it was funny though because James, Joe, my wife, and a bunch of people said, no, you are not allowed to go. And I thought James was very apropos this morning when he goes, and Joe said the same thing last night. He's like, you are not allowed to go to an event that's free, that certain Giant fans who don't go to anything will probably go to this because it's free. And then you are going to have a contingent of people that are just going to want to come there just because it's free to say, oh, it's a Giants draft party, and everyone is correct. It starts at 3, ends at 10. And even James said this morning, that is a bad mixture for you to go because of your personality. And I'm
Sounds like a fight.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
It sounds like, oh, we also have the Republicans coming in. It is not a good remedy, but I'm still thinking about maybe doing a draft, like little draft party somewhere in Jersey. I'm still thinking about that.
We're at Tim's house.
No, nobody wants to come. James has been to my house, and James even said that the people from Deliverance got concerned when they drove to my house. We're not going.
Yeah, it's pretty bad at night. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, and like I said, unless you like coyotes, but they're not dogs. Just so you know, don't go pet them. Just learn that the hard way. But so we may do something somewhere in Central Jersey. I figured out, but if we do, we'll figure it out quick. But philosopher, do you expect anything from today's press conference at 3:30?
Nah, man, just trying to just a whole bunch of posturing, puffing his chest out, peacocking, and that's all he's been doing since he got neutered.
Well, he got neutered a long time ago. We also got to get to Law Dizzy's question again. This is a good question. This is a question for everyone. I'm going to start with Joe in the top. Who are you each hoping the number 5 draft pick is going to be? I'm going to start with Joe.
If we stay at 5, which I think is the most likely scenario, just because, as Tim said, you always need a dance partner to trade down, I got to take Sonny Styles. That athletic upside and the instincts that I saw, and they'll even sharpen more. I think, despite the fact that it's not a premium position, I really think that you're getting a potential linebacker for the ages and potentially the best player in this draft, and you can't pass on that at number 5.
I'm going to go play devil's advocate here because this is why it's fun. Joe, what is going to happen when the people come up to you and say, okay, Sonny Styles, only 2 years at the linebacker position, former safety, probably does not know all the nuances and continuity. Can you really take Sonny Styles that high over maybe a Reese or a David Bailey if they're available?
And Arvell, yeah, you could take him over Arvell Reese. I think Sonny Styles now is a better off-the-ball linebacker than Arvell Reese. Arvell Reese, you're talking about positionless, and I'm not knocking Arvell Reese. I think Arvell Reese is going to be a special player as well. But, number one, I don't think he's going to be there because he ain't getting past the Jets at 2. But if he were there, he's one of these positionless guys, so he does a little of this, a little of that. And I'm not convinced that he's a better off-ball linebacker right now in his development than Sonny Styles. I'm just not. So I like Sonny Styles. Arvell Reese won't be there. If he was there, there would be a discussion. As far as Bailey, he's a pure edge. You talked about redundancy when we were having the Bain discussion yesterday. And this is much more redundant than Bain because I think Bain can play in a number of places. Bailey is a pure edge. They've got enough resources right now in edge. I know you could make the case, well, Tibbs is gone next year. Again, you got a lot tied up in edge long term. I'm not drafting a guy at 5 to be the number 3 edge on this football team, and I can't play him anywhere else. So, long story short, too late. Sonny Styles is my guy at 5. If he ain't there and Arvell Reese is there, I'll take him. If Bailey is there, Reese and Styles are gone, I'm moving down, ideally staying inside of the top 10 so I can still get one of the truly elite players and true first-rounders in this draft.
James, who are you taking at 5?
I'm taking Styles or Love. Like Brother Joe said, I think Styles should be the number 1 choice. The pushback I'll give to what you just said is we just drafted a guy in Carter that, correct me if I'm wrong, he only had 1 full year at defensive end last year at Penn State. So we drafted that. Linebacker. Okay. So exactly. So we took him and he only had 1 year at his position in his last year in college. So that doesn't really mean anything as far as Styles. And I just want to add as a caveat that if we don't draft Styles, and I get it, offensive linemen are always important. I get that. But Harbaugh on the teams he's had, I believe he's always had at least 1 real stud at linebacker on most of those Baltimore teams. Yeah. So I'm thinking he's leaning that way. And if we don't take Styles, but we let Dallas or Philly get him, we will regret it. Remember, Angry Black Man said that.
You brought up Love, and I want to ask you a question about Love for a second. You had mentioned Abdul Carter, and I actually agree. Abdul Carter had 2 seasons as an off-the-ball linebacker at Penn State. His last year as an off-the-ball linebacker, he had a 24.9% missed tackle percentage, which was one of the caveats that led him to be a defensive end, besides the fact that year they lost a guy in the first round and the third round of the draft. Penn State did. But he didn't have the full, he hasn't been fully vetted in that position as a defensive end. Sonny Styles is kind of the same way, the safety all of his life, moved over the last 2 years to a linebacker position. But Caleb Downs has basically always been a safety, and Caleb Downs, some scouts think, and I don't know if it's true, that he could also fill in as a corner. Would it make sense for John Harbaugh, who had Ed Reed, who had Kyle Hamilton, to try to buck the conventional system of the NFL that you don't take a safety in the top 5? Only 4 have been taken in 50 years out of 250 picks. Does Harbaugh buck conventional wisdom and say, you know what? I've always had that big thumper as the safety guy that can cover, play in the box. Downs fits that.
He does. He does. And again, I'm a Buckeye fan, so I've watched all these guys very closely. Like it's funny. We're either going to draft a Buckeye, a running back, or a tackle. Like, it's hilarious. But the thing I'll say is, in life, you have to, especially as you get smarter and older, where Harbaugh's at, you got to pick the lesser of the two evils. And I think Downs, for all the potential and as good as he is, Styles is the lesser of the two evils there.
Okay. All right. I like it. Philosopher, who you taking?
I hate to be a follower, man, but I'm gonna go with Sonny Styles. But I do have some unconventional other options that I would mention. But before I get to that, I'll just say the reason why I would get Sonny Styles is because he presents something we have not had in damn. I don't even know.
30 years.
30 years.
Right. I wasn't even alive damn near. So right. So it's like, if somebody told you you could have something you haven't had in so long, and it's the middle of your defense, which has been the weakest part of the defense for years, I'm taking it every time. But here are my dark horse candidates, and these are not popular opinions. Ruben Bain. Now, the reason why I say Ruben Bain is because he presents a edge that we have not had in a long time.
I can't listen to that. Ruben Baines? I couldn't get to the button fast. What are you, fucking crazy? You lose your goddamn mind? You're gonna draft?
Look, man,
what? You know what? I'm gonna tell us Giant fans this. There are 11 positions on defense, not just one. Listen, I'm just busting your chops. I'm sorry.
Of course.
Go ahead.
Well, no, I just think the guy plays with unbelievable power.
You know you're never gonna live that down, right?
Never.
That's why I love you, man. You know you're never gonna live that down. And I appreciate you for that. But go ahead. Explain.
I mean, he just plays with unbelievable power. I think he's like Joe said, you can move him around the line, and he really reminds me a lot of Tuck. Like very similar type, body build, thickly built, strong. You know what I'm saying? Pause. And it's just like one of those things where, like, he's something that we don't have. I want people and players on this team that we don't have. I don't want the same type of players that we keep getting,
Okay, but my question is going to be to you, what are you then going to do? Because, we were talking about this with Joe earlier with Dexter Lawrence, how Dexter Lawrence's technically best position recently has been defensive end. You are now going to have a myriad of defense. You are now going to have a plethora. Wait, sorry.
You say I have a plethora of piñatas?
You're going to have a plethora of defensive ends. Where's everybody playing?
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure Kayvon getting traded. And then if you get somebody like Bain, you can use what's old boy's name? The defensive end we got last year?
Abdul Carter.
You can actually use Abdul Carter more so the way you should, which is more of a third down option, instead of having him in the first two downs where he's not good for us.
Okay, but then my question is, and we talked about this with Jerry Oslowski, the former offensive lineman for the Buffalo Bills for 10 years. Then, and I'm not saying you, but if that's the case, if you're going to use Abdul Carter as he probably should be used as more of a third, as a third down pass rusher, why the hell did you take a third down pass rusher at 5 when that guy at 3, when that guy at 3 should be a dominant 3-down player?
I mean, I think that Ruben Bain can be a dominant 3-down player. That's the thing. I think he's a good pass rusher. I think he's a really good pass rusher. He just doesn't have that ridiculous athleticism that a lot of these other guys have. Like, that's the biggest difference between David Bailey and Bain. Bain has the power and Bailey has the speed.
Okay.
But for me, give me the power over the speed, because this is the NFL. And if we are trying to stop the run, the speed's not going to help us. The power will.
Okay. So are you going Bain or are you going to go someplace else?
Well, no, I'm going to go Sonny Styles, but I'm just saying if Sonny Styles was somehow not there, And you know, I was feeling like I needed to address the defensive line. I'm gonna go with Bain. If I feel like I don't want to do that, then I'm going corner, and I'm either going Jermod McCoy or the corner from LSU. Because corner is a problem on our team. It's not good.
No, corner, and that's actually being very nice about that. That's not good. Joe, talk to me about philosophy here for a minute. The Ruben Baines, and I'm actually glad he went something different. Could the Giants even consider Ruben Bain at 5, or even maybe if they traded down a couple spots? Could they go that type of direction with all the defensive line? We have the most money in the NFL tied up into the defensive line out of any team in the NFL. Could you go that way?
Well, I'll say it like this: at 5, no, they're trading down.
Okay.
But let's say you trade down, you recoup some extra picks, and the board falls to you in such a way that Bain presents as the obvious option. Yeah, they're going to take him. And and I understand some of this allocation of assets and how it's kind of off kilter. But you got to remember something. The guy that's buying the groceries now wasn't the guy that was buying the groceries the last 5 years. He's not married to very many of these guys. He's here because he likes the quarterback, so he's probably married to him, married to a few guys he brought in. He ain't married to anybody else. So you trade down. Let's say you do end up with Bain. You can see some shuffling and some movement, and maybe some guys get traded, maybe not right away, maybe off season, maybe deadline. I don't know how it all shakes out, but what I can say is there's a lot more possible, or you're open to a lot more with this draft, because the guy picking the groceries was not the guy who picked the groceries the last 5 years. So he's willing to throw some things out or move some things around or redistribute things, because not many of these guys are his guys. Whereas the last regime, most of these guys are his guys. That, and he was under incredible pressure to win now. So he had to pick things that, even if they weren't the best guy long term, they'll help us the most right now. I could steal a few wins and keep my phony baloney job. So that's how I look at it.
I was going to ask James the same question, but James evidently left out. But I'm going to bring in angry James. Philosopher, what the fuck are you thinking?
Tim, it's interesting. On to Philosopher's point, and I get your point. Man, there's a lot of money on this defensive line. There's a lot of money on edge guys. And now you're bringing in a Ruben Bain if he ends up being the guy that you
and you have a defensive tackle who wants more money.
Well, you know something? It's interesting. Bain comes in and he can do a lot of things, and he can move around the line and play some edge. He can go anywhere from 3 to 9 tech and blah, 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 blah. And I'll let you break all the break that down to the people. We don't have that kind of time. But he could play in a lot of places. And you obviously at some term in the not too distant future, you're moving on from Fatso, because now you've really got duplication and you got to find fits for everybody. I mean, you obviously don't, you don't tip your hand, but you ultimately would end up moving on from Dexter Lawrence, hoping you can get a decent haul, and you're off to the races. You don't have to do it right away, because I got to be honest, it doesn't matter what your record is in 26. It's about getting this team ready to truly compete to some degree in 27, but to a greater degree in 28.
Okay. I'm actually listening to you guys. You know what's funny? I'm like people tell me that they listen to me like they're listening to the radio, and they use it to to make the day go faster. I'm actually building the thumbnail while you guys are talking for the 315 stream.
Awesome. All right. Well,
I am multitasking. I'm a little upset about James right now, but that's all right. It's okay. Let's see here. Trade down. No, I don't think we're trading down. Does anyone want to trade down?
Who wants to come up? That's always the question. I was reading something today, and again, I take a lot of this stuff that's written for what it's worth. It's not even written on paper, so you can't say the paper it's printed on. But I saw, there's 5 teams that would like to trade down, but there ain't 5 teams that want to come up. How is everybody trading down when nobody wants to come up? It doesn't work like that. I'd like to trade down. Okay, but we don't want your number 5. Or we'll take it, but we're going to give you 75 cents on the dollar. You want $1.10 on the dollar. We want to give you 75. I guess we don't have a match, do we? So more than likely, I think the Giants are sitting exactly where they are, because unless there's something that really falls right in this draft where somebody really wants to come up and get somebody, I think the Giants are going to have to stick where they are, because they ain't going to get their value. I think the one guy that would be there that would allow them to trade out would be Bailey. Somebody really wants to get a pure edge, and they're desperate to get to 5. Anybody else that would be there at 5, they ain't going to trade out because they'll just take them. You know, I'm convinced if of the big group that everybody is that's rumored to the Giants, Love, Styles, Reese, if any of those 3 are there at 5, they're just taking them. Any one of the 3 are there at 5. The only realistic way I believe the Giants trade out at 5 is none of that big 3 are there at 5, and somebody makes them an offer for Bailey that they can't refuse. That's what I really believe.
Charlie, Charlie, you came in late. I actually we talked about the Cincinnati Bengals, and we talked about something that some people were talking to me about. Actually, some people that still work in the NFL, that they heard rumors that the Giants send Dexter Lawrence to Cincinnati for T. Higgins, a 4th rounder, and a late round swap. And I want to go real quick, because I do have to get off in a little bit.
That's what she said.
But Philosopher, I wanted to ask you about that, because like I said, that was 2 back-to-back conversations I had with 2 people that still work in the NFL, that they kept hearing rumors that it's Dex to Cle, and the money matches. So you don't have to worry about salary cap. It's 26 point something for T. It's 26.9 for Dex. But they're hearing potentially Dex to Cincinnati for T. Higgins, who just signed an extension, a 4th rounder, and a late round swap. Any thoughts on that?
How many more years does T have on his contract?
He just signed the extension, so I think he would have at least 2 years or 3 years with a 1 year out.
Is he getting 26 per every year?
The number goes down. He's going to do 26 for the next couple of years, but the number does go down. The numbers basically match.
Yeah, I kind of like that, because T. Higgins would make our offense like really high powered compared to what it is now.
But do you think that the Giants would consider even going that direction?
It'd take a lot of nuts.
Yeah, a lot of nuts. That's actually an excellent way to put it. It would take a lot of stones to do it, but I was just curious from a fan perspective. Now, Joe, someone who's worked in sports media for as long as you have, when you hear that type of, I'm on the phone, people.
Hello.
It's going to voicemail. For someone who works in sports media, especially in New York media, it's been in New York sports media for an extended period of time, very long time. You and I both know that you hear these rumors all the time. You hear these speculations. The majority of these times, these rumors never pan out. They never come to fruition. But from a football perspective, is that something that you would think would, because we always have to think, why would the other team do it? Would this be something that would potentially be beneficial for both teams to do?
I like it for the Giants in a lot of ways. I mean, because everybody says, well, what happens if if Malik Neighbors is not ready week 1? Well, I got a guy who can kind of fill in as my number 1 for a while. It isn't an ideal number 1, but I got a guy that can fill in. As you talked about, money matches. I get some draft capital. So and I get rid of a guy who's not happy. So, and I can rebuild my team more in this Harbaugh image, which is stop the run and be physical.
Which
and I get rid of something that as we've been discussing here for 2 days, is an issue. They don't stop the run on defense. So from a Giants standpoint, it makes a lot of sense. I don't know that it makes sense from a Cincinnati standpoint.
Well,
I just let a pass rusher go.
but to your point, you just let a pass rusher go, so you are weak at that position. Their run defense has been putrid, and Dexter Lawrence is going to tell you, listen, I do the little things. I'm taking all these double teams that just isn't showing up in the stat sheet. You've lost a defensive identity in Cincinnati. That's why when I heard this, I initially brushed it off. And then, like I said, it was funny. Then I got another call like 4 minutes later. And then actually you called right after that. And I was laughing because I thought for a minute you were calling with the same thing. I was like, listen, if it's 3 times the charm, then I'm going to talk about it. But I figured I'd talk about it anyways. But it does give Cincinnati, it gives them, again, a defensive identity.
It does. The only thing is,
I'm not saying the right one, but it gives them an identity.
do you think I think Duke Tobin's a smart guy. He's the guy that makes the real personnel decisions there. They don't allow him to spend any money, but he makes the personnel decisions there. Do you think that the three of us are the only 3 people that know that Dex really can't defend the run well?
Oh, hell no. I've talked to people that are still in the league and some of them are out of the league that say the
So
same
if your run defense is putrid, adding Dex is not going to solve that problem, number one. Number two, I've given up my number 2 receiver. Yoshivas is a nice player as a 3. Who's my number 2 receiver? And the identity of that team when it was successful was Joe Burrow slinging it all over the place to 3 elite pass receiver weapons that were all slotted in the right spots. When you all of a sudden ask a number 3 receiver and say, okay, move up to number 2, it'll be seamless. No, think 8th inning reliever moving up to closer. It doesn't always work. When you change roles, the results can change. So for Cincinnati, I like this deal for the Giants because it doesn't really kill anything, in my opinion. For Cincinnati, I think they potentially solve a problem, but then they go and create a problem. So where have they actually gone? And they lose draft capital. So I like it. I like it better for the Giants than I like it for the Bengals.
It's Cincinnati. They're fucked up as it is.
Okay. Well, then maybe, but you do get my point. I think when you think about it, I don't think I'm off base in that for the Giants. I think they solve some problems without creating as many new problems as Cincinnati creates for themselves and doesn't completely solve a problem. So I like it better for the Giants than I do for the Bengals.
All right, guys, I do have to get out of here, but because I am going to come back at 3:15. Jackson Dart does not equal Drew Lock. Let's. I'm not a Jackson Dart. I'm not going to say I'm not a Jackson Dart fan. I am not completely sold on Jackson Dart yet because of the fact I've said it before. I think Dable and Kafka did him a disservice by basically making him an Ole Miss quarterback who's playing in the NFL using the Ole Miss system because they didn't make him an NFL quarterback. I'm hoping that Nagy and Callahan make him an NFL quarterback. So and like I said, if you're looking at a system that fits this dude perfectly, it's going to be the Nagy system. So, I mean, there's no way he's Drew Lock. I mean, I don't see, he's already shown more than Drew Lock has shown in 6 years in the NFL. So we're not going to get there. Philosopher, appreciate you coming on. Big Joe, appreciate you coming on as well. I will be back at 3:15. The thumbnail is the thumbnail on the stream is already up. So make sure you stay tuned because we are going to cover the press conference live. We'll see how much trouble we get in for that. What are you going to do? But I mean, Philosopher, any quick final thoughts? I do have to walk the dogs before I go get the kids.
I really like that deal that you mentioned just because it'll open up us to be able to focus almost primarily on defense. So.
All right, good. I mean, I'm seeing Charlie. Charlie, hope we'll see you back. Joe, quick way to end us out here because we got to get out.
Well, I guess as a final thought, everything is on the table for the Giants, and realize Harbs Most of these guys, outside of the new acquisitions and Jackson Dart, aren't Harb's guys. So remember, everything is on the table and expect the unexpected.
Oh, I like that. Expect the unexpected. And then, again, this is Tim, this New York Giants Straight Talk, brought to you by the mighty FanDuel. It's FanDuel.com, number one sportsbook on America. And we're out of here, and we will see you back at 3:15.